World Wrestling Federation. For over 50 years, the revolutionary force in sports entertainment.
What's our name?
Well, men on the
Are you ready?
Well,
Here we go. Men on a mission. Bam, bang, boom. Here we go.
Welcome to the New Gen on a Mission podcast on the Backbone Wrestling Network. I'm Tim Slomka.
I'm JP.
Thanks for joining us again. As always, we're on the journey to relive the New Generation era, to find the best and some of the worst of a wrestling time period often forgotten. From Bret and Shawn Survivor Series 92 to Bret and Shawn Survivor Series 97, look beyond the pay-per-views, examine the weekly TV, so what worked, what could have worked, and what failed. How's it going, JP?
Oh, it's a national holiday today.
Yes, football is
In case you
back.
didn't
Taylor
know.
Swift is back. Taylor Swift is back. So
Right. Well,
we're
that's what I was referencing. I don't know about
Yes.
this football stuff, but
Yeah, well, she happens to be at a game, but
Right, right.
tomato. So, yes, good to be back on Thursday Night Football and Friday Night Football and Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, taking over our lives. And Saturday's college, so it's
Yeah.
a good
And
time.
Did you watch any of Hard Knocks with the Bears?
You know what? I didn't. I canceled HBO, so I missed everything.
You can just search that last 2 minutes of the last episode of Hard Knocks, and you will want to run through a wall and think the Bears are going to go 17-0 this year.
I already have that.
Yeah.
Prediction, so I don't
Okay,
need
well,
that.
all right, so we're on the same page. Yeah.
Just how many Super Bowls in a row will we win is really the question.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like you see the Chiefs now, and it's like, okay, ho hum. You know what's
That's
coming?
Sort of a dynasty, I guess.
Right.
Nothing. So
Exactly.
great. So we're gonna talk some 90. We're into 95. Well, after the first Superstars, we're into 95
Right.
wrestling. So that'll get us pumped up as well. Or at least you for this.
Oh man, dude. And, and speaking of something that's going to be coming soon, also got to speak on like the passing of Sid.
Oh yes.
That guy.
New Gen
he was
Spatial.
one of my guys. Yeah. Like I feel like a lot of people our age are like Sid guys. I don't know, and like not even like ironically, like I love Sid. He's one of my favorites of all time. So, I know he'll be coming up soon for us.
Yes.
That's gonna be a treat. I know he's not like the best worker, and I know he flubs a lot of lines. There's just something about Sid, man. He's just, I don't know. He's just got this look, and
yeah, he's got the look, right? And it's a time where there was the steroid guys, but he had like charisma too about him, right? And he obviously, when we thought of him, was like larger than life, right? You know, when we saw him a lot of times, like a larger than life, because you didn't have all these guys that were just massive non-steroids, right? Like there's so many guys up. Taylor Swift sighting. Sorry, we gotta keep everyone up there. But you know, he was just like larger than life versus just where now everyone is so jacked, right? You know, or and all these guys are just so ripped. At the time, there was a lot of guys that were just fat, King Kong Bundy and things like that.
Yeah.
Sid was just like a larger than life guy, and he kept that up even though the steroid kind of warlords and those type of guys disappeared. Sid was always there, so he always felt like a presence, right? You know, right? Some of his in-ring stuff's not the best, but he just had that presence to him.
He just looked like an athlete to me.
Yeah,
like,
right.
He
Exactly.
looked like a physical like defensive end or something.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
You know, and he was just like Survivor Series '96 is my
Is
favorite
an
pay-per-view of
all
all
time.
time.
Yep.
And him winning the belt and combined with the Bret is just what makes it for me. It just sucks. I never even knew he was like sick or anything. So
I think I saw it like one time, like but way back, right? Like just one of those things that like you see and you don't like think of, and it's obviously like I'm not tracking his sickness,
right.
It's like you kind of see it one time and then you just kind of forget about it, and then you just come back to it and it's like, oh crap. Like it was kind of shocking to see. So
so R.I.P. to the big man.
Yes, good memory to bring that up. And a guy that we're gonna see a lot, right? He's gonna be a big staple of 95 and 96 and until we finish here. So all right, let's move on to finish 94. The last thing of 94. Superstars on New Year's Eve, so December 31st. And we have the tag team tournament going on, and you know it's been pretty good so far. And why don't you take this first match then?
So
you love Anvil, so
I know it sucks. Like he's obviously the worst guy in the ring. So it's Owen and Anvil obviously versus the Head Shrinkers, and it just always bothers me that this is like what Owen was brought to, like carrying the Anvil around. Hopefully this is one of the last times we have to see Anvil, but I'm not positive on that. And I just felt like anybody else as Owens like second could have made this match even better because it was actually pretty solid to begin with, especially with the head shrinkers. Like they were, I don't know if like Sione is re-energizing like Fatu or like they're just like a new like breath of like into that team. But it actually was pretty solid to begin with, especially from them. Like they brought a lot of energy. Towards the end though, like the boot from the head shrinkers gets involved and Owen gets DQ'd for hitting with the boot from the top. So uh, I don't know why they're trying to keep Owen strong because they just don't give a shit about him. So they got kept him strong with just a DQ, I guess, and the head shrinkers advance. So good to see that the head shrinkers advanced though. I didn't want Owen and Anvil to go through, because of Anvil. So fun little match, and I always like the little tournament stuff. So good to kind of advance that and keep it going.
Yeah. It was an upset, right? I mean, that was something about
Mhm.
it. Like I would have thought Anvil like going into it. You'd think Anvil and Owen are going to it. So it seems kind of weird they're putting, but they kind of do it in a cheap way. With that. The boot thing is so annoying and stupid. Like
It
again
is.
for the Fatu. So why you say the head shrinkers are maybe re-energized, the boot thing is just dumb. It's just something
Yep.
I don't appreciate or don't like or don't get. Right? Like it's just kind of silly. Again, with kind of the match kind of being a surprise upset,
Mhm.
right? I think it's the first like upset of this tournament. And if you would have picked it, I would have thought maybe they go to the finals, right? I think I kind of know a little bit about what's happening here, but I didn't know kind of how this happened. So I think that's a good upset. The fact that you would think Owen Hart just fighting for the title, dealing with Bret, he'll have in this taping of ours right now, he's going to have a world title, intercount match, right? So it's like he's still big time, and so you kind of think like, oh, he's just going to walk through this tournament.
Yeah.
And kind of funny that right in like 3-4 months he'll be in the tag. So it's not like unthinkable that he could have won this tournament. So I would say an upset, and I think it makes the head shrinkers look pretty strong.
Right.
This might be their last big win that we think of. So
That's a good point.
it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy there. And I also put in my notes it's crazy the Bushwhackers and Owen are out in the same round. Just unthinkable.
Right. Right.
So then we get a Double J down in Vegas. Pretty cool action shots, just going all over the strip, up and down, just kind of like showing off that he's part of I was gonna say Memphis, part of Las Vegas. So pretty cool, Kevin Dunn-esque video package there. So pretty good job putting together that. So I like that. And then we get Razor's first squash match. So quick squash match, whatever. They just kind of talk up. They might be facing. I'm confused when he's facing Double J because they don't really announce it in Todd's segment. So, but they keep bringing up they're going to fight. So, standard squash there, and then they bring up. Then we get.
That'll be at the Rumble, right?
Yeah, right. In the Rumble, but they haven't brought it up. Like, or they bring it up,
Right.
but it's not in Todd's report, so it's confusing.
Gotcha.
If it's been announced or not. Then we get then we get the kind of announcing of more Rumble participants. We get an interview from Backlund, who's sitting in this like director's chair, which is kind of crazy. We get announced that Butch and Luke are going to be in there. They don't even have photos of Luke and Butch yet. They just say they're in there. They've been in the Fed for 7 years, and they don't have like stock footage of them. Like piss poor quality there. And then also they announced that Anvil is in, but I kind of put a note that he might be done. So it's kind of weird they kind of announced him there. So, slowly doing these final participants. I got 19 if you count Anvil, but it's confusing if he's in or not. And we also get, I think, announced again. Some of these matches here on this have been confusing, but Taker versus IRS is officially announced for the for Royal Rumble. And then we get a Quang. You got something before I go?
No, you're good.
Okay, I got Quang squash match really quick. The Fink does a phone call in talking about his big match versus Harvey Wibbleman. Oh my God, it's so stupid.
I hated this.
It's so bad. I get it. I put my notes here. It's been here like 20 years. Okay, you want to give him like some type of segment, it's fine. But it's just like this is like the lows of 95, and we'll get worse and worse later on. But it's just kind of silly. Again, okay, you want to use him differently and put something in there. Fine for that. So
yeah, it's just he's not a good character. So like when they throw people bones like that and they end up being like a little gem or whatever, like someone like Jonathan Coachman who was like an announcer or whatever, but then got worked into some physical stuff. He was actually pretty solid at it. And then you see the Fink and it's like, come on, really? Like, do we need him? Like it almost makes it look like really fake, like wrestling. Like
Oh
when you
yeah,
have
yeah,
someone
right,
like
yeah,
this playing wrestler. Like I don't know.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
hate it.
it's just yeah, it's kind of silly again. Maybe again if you want to give the Fink a little break, but again, it's like he's not really doing much, so
Right.
disappointing segment for sure.
Right.
Uh, and then we get the Heartbreak Hotel from
Yep.
a different arena, I'm pretty sure. Um, but we get Taker out there, which is just bizarre. Why is Shawn Michaels
This did not fit.
this
Yeah.
did not fit. The Undertaker. Shawn's like acting afraid of the lights, which again is like a low level heel type move of being afraid of the heart, not the sexy boy.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Shawn is just so wasted this time. He's had so much time off. He's never. We haven't seen him wrestling forever. And he's just a guy, just kind of pointless. Like he's wasted. I feel like, and his segments are never that great. But he feels like he's on a lot with this Heartbreak Hotel, and it feels just like a waste. So I don't know if you had anything to add there, but
Well, it's so like to me these things. So like Lawler can carry a segment with a guy that doesn't know how to talk a little bit
right.
better, and then Shawn, you kind of have to have someone he can play off of, someone that's at least solid on the mic or has like a really invested storyline or something. But Shawn, he's playing the too cool for school kind of gimmick where
Yeah.
he's gonna kind of clown on the guy a little bit, but it just doesn't work with Taker, and like it just really doesn't fit at all. Like seeing him in this environment's kind of weird. Like I don't know. Like I can appreciate the dark with the comedy guy. Like it worked with like the Undertaker back in the day, like with the maybe like the barbershop or something like
Yeah.
that. But here it just doesn't fit. So
But it doesn't need Shawn Michaels doing it. Like,
yeah, that
what I mean?
exactly.
Like King should be afraid of the lights, right? Not
Yep.
like Shawn
Yep.
Michaels afraid of the dark, right? Like,
Yeah,
it
I
really
mean, this is your guy that's going to be main eventing WrestleMania,
right?
and
Yeah.
he's playing Afraid of the Dark with Undertaker.
Right.
So
If it's a feud, okay, fine. Like that's what you want to make the feud out, but it's not. It's like, you know what I mean? Like he's not feuding
Yep.
with Taker.
Yep.
So I could get it if you want to go that feud, like, hey, he's playing demons or he's playing mind tricks with them, but Taker's not. He's not even saying he is, right? And so it's just kind of silly.
yeah. So from
Let
there
you go
we
next.
get we get a Henry Goblin squash.
Oh.
Yeah, it was fun the first few times. Now it's kind of getting a little repetitive.
What is he? What is he?
When you said that, so like I always assumed he was a babyface, but I don't know. I
I
can't
don't know how he's a
tell.
heel either.
Right.
He does
I don't
nothing
know.
to be a heel.
I know he feuds with like obviously Triple H later on. He's a babyface, but I don't know if he turns babyface. And I don't know. I guess it just depends on. Maybe it's like a Bret thing where like in the South he's a babyface, in the North
Could
he's a
be,
heel
yeah.
or something. I don't know, but
We've yet to hear like a cheer. I put my notes like you hear no boos for him,
right.
So they clearly haven't defined the character, but you also hear no cheers for him.
Well, and on commentary they don't define it either. Like they don't call him despicable, or they don't say, "Oh, look at the happy." Yeah, it's kind of left up for interpretation, I guess. So, first tweener, gray area wrestler of all time, Henry Goblin.
Yeah, when people say, it's Stone Cold, I'm like, no.
Right.
The Hog.
Yeah, so actually the Attitude Era started with Henry Goblin.
You're right.
Well,
We actually the podcast is over.
Right,
we're done.
Yeah. What a revelation.
Brett and Shawn to Hog. Hog on Superstars.
Exactly. So
I gotta fix my intro.
Right. Something that was actually cool after this was another comma vignette.
Yes, awesome.
So one thing I noticed, and it kind of really just like ruined this for me though, is so Kama's like this pit fighter, MMA fighter, kind of badass on a motorcycle, to be feared. In the vignette, he's driving on the wrong side of the road like the whole time. So maybe he's just a dumbass. Maybe they want to play it off like he just doesn't give a shit and he'll drive wherever he wants. But he's clearly in the left lane the whole time. So unless he's in England, there's deserts in England I don't know of. But yeah, he's on the wrong side of the road. So I guess we'll see his intelligence come into play sooner or later.
Yeah. The only thing I said, I wish it was Papa Shango. The segment is cool and it's feeding into like we kind of talked about the new M&A, but it's
But they could have put that gimmick on anybody. I'm with you. I would have rather seen Papa Shango come back in this era, especially if you're gonna still play to the kids and that kind of thing.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You don't need another guy in the corporation. You don't need Papa Shango, especially if you're gonna feud him with the Undertaker anyways. Papa Shango would have been awesome. You're right. So, Then someone that's not so awesome to finish out the show is Aldo Montoya with a squash. Um, it always feels like there's two jobbers in the ring when he's having a match. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It doesn't see like I'd rather see him play the role of 1, 2, 3 kid and kind of get like beat by mid-level guys and then
Yeah.
have a squash every now and then instead of just doing squash matches. Or I'd like to see him like in a tag or something at least to give him some like revitalizing a little bit. Right now he's just kind of like whatever right now. So
Yeah, he's serving no purpose. He's not even an
right,
enhancement talent, right? For anyone.
exactly.
Like he'd be a great enhancement talent for Kama when Kama comes, but
Yep,
we haven't seen it. Or Hog, right? Even Hog. But
Oh, that's a good
we're
point.
not we're not seeing it. Well, if he is we're just not seeing that, right?
Right.
And that's part of the problem. We're just not seeing it. So, and then we get. Do you want to make the announcement or me?
What's that?
Well, the following week, Superstars Mantaur is coming.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's. I mean,
I immediately messaged you. Said, "Oh my god,
dude, I'm serious. When I I watched this year back, so like when I was probably like 25, 20, when I was like making enough money to where I could just have like expendable income and started buying like all these bootleg DVDs. I'm like, I'm gonna start with 95 and watch all the way through the Monday Night Wars. And when I watched this and I saw Mantaur, I was like, holy shit. I remember rewatching this. I remember loving this way too much. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about that when we get to it.
Yeah, it was just the highlight.
I'll have Mantaur over Well Dunn any day. So.
Yes, it was like one of those things where it's like next week, and I was like, no way, he's already here. I can't believe it. I mean, we have not talked enough about it. All right, let's move on to January 2nd. We'll talk about Mantaur and his bullhorn in 2 minutes. January 2nd, 1995, Raw is next. Taped way back in December. So this is where, again, I kind of get it. You're the day after New Year's, but again, it's just an old taping. So you kind of don't have the freshness of it. You just don't have the freshness. It's just super stale. We'll get a live one in the second one. So we get Double J out here first, and he's going to talk about how he's going to sing tonight. A gimmick they've been really, really playing up, right? Like, don't you think this has been maybe a little overdone of like his fake singing? But it's good enough on there, but it's just kind of been like, okay, we kind of get where this is going. And then we get Gorilla Monsoon, who's doing commentary. So he says that Vince is under the weather, which again is weird because it's taped, and Vince did the other one, so and kind of fake. I don't know what they were trying to do, but maybe just try to check out Gorilla on this. That, and then we get the tag team title. Sorry, it's not a tag team title match, but it's a tag team match they've been talking about. We get the LA Powers. They don't call them that, but Bulldog and Luger. Right. It's funny. Shawn Michaels keeps talking about how Luger keeps coming up short, even in this match. It's an okay match. You kind of got a little bit different styles. You got Bulldog and Luger, probably the first time ever tagging together, but they look good at times. Bam Bam and Taka look like, they're starting to really push that like they're feuding against each other. That there might be dissension in the $1 billion corporation. But in the end we get double countouts. It's good. It sets up, and then it becomes a wild brawl, which is good because you're kind of setting up the Rumble and like, hey, everyone's after each other and like you don't know who to trust and everyone's kind of like figuring out who they could team with. So I like that. We like that when Survivor Series happens. So while it doesn't lead to anything, it's a cool idea. I also like that Luger and Bulldog came out to their own music, and that Millionaire Corp also attacked Luger right away, and Bulldog came for the save, and Shawn was kind of like, oh, he doesn't even trust him. He's not even coming in for his teammates. So I kind of like that of like, hey, not everyone's together yet. They're still trying to figure out their, who's going to be on what team, etc. And so they set up a pretty decent lead up to the Rumble, but I thought it was a decent match for start of a Raw.
Yeah, I think just like Owen, like it sucks to see the fall off of Luger like this. Like I don't know, I just thought I don't like how he's just all of a sudden like this tag team wrestler. You don't look at a Luger knowing that Vince hates like pairing tag teams up, and you're wasting like a singles star. And Bulldog as well. Like Bulldog could be a single star right now. So well, it's a cool idea to kind of put them together. I just wish they weren't. And it was like a mess of a finish.
Yeah,
too,
and
so.
when did Bulldog come back? Like just recently, right? Like just at SummerSlam, right? When he came back.
Yeah,
is that when he came?
Yeah, because he was in the crowd.
Yeah, so but he hasn't been around that long. He's kind of relegated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's been
well,
like relegated
that's
to
what's
this
weird.
tag,
Like he
this
didn't even
tag
really get
situation.
like a singles feud, did he? Like I don't think he's had like a feud one-on-one with
Just
anybody.
Anvil, like a little bit, but it's been like tag matches with Anvil and
Yeah.
Owen and Bret, right? Like that's kind of been
Yep.
his. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So that's
weird.
weird. So from there we get another quick Rumble report. Nothing really um new coming out of that. Um, then that's followed with a Duke the Dumpster Drosy squash. So we are starting to see, for better or for worse, we are starting to see like the variety of the roster come into play now that we've kind of wanted. Like you've had these like clearly 95 guys starting to work in Duke Drosy, Aldo Montoya, Hakushi, Jarrett, like it just fresh talent. And I always like when companies do that, like when they don't stick with the same guys for multiple years, especially when there's like multiple places to work, like cycle people out. But not that these are the best guys to do it with, but
Yeah.
at least it's something different that you can kind of like if we watched like this is 95, the beginning of 95, if we watched uh first two episodes of Raw of 93 or 94, you're probably going to see a lot of different uh, characters, so that's pretty good. Um, then we also get the King's Court with Owen now. So this is an example of doing it in the better fashion. A guy with a story, like a guy that can handle his own on the mic, and then Lawler kind of on the same page with him, playing up the heel antics and everything. So this was good that Owen comes out and he has like the towel in his hand that he made throw in for Bret. So that's
Yep.
awesome that they're not really letting go of that. I like that touch. So like this little work right here is what shows you what Owen should be. I don't know why they didn't
Yep.
see it in him or whatever. Like there's what else do you want out of him? Like he's works great in the ring. He works with a variety of opponents. Tag. He's solid on the mic. He's good in a feud. So weird. And speaking of that, he goes over his like 1994 accomplishments and says,
Yep. I have the same
uh,
notes.
yeah, it shows how they did. And to me, it just shows how they dropped the ball with him. Like all he's done in this calendar year from where he started at, like he was high energy. He was, not that big of a star, and then kind of put his stamp on 94, and then this is how he's rewarded. So kind of sucks. And then he still did great in this role. I think that's one good thing about Owen. Like I've appreciated more is that he's just running with whatever they give him. So um, just really highlights his talent, like that he can kind of adjust to being Neidhart's lackey to being a feud with Bret to being a contender for the IC title. Like whatever he's needed to do, that's kind of what he's stepped up and doing. And then after that King's Court, we did have a Jeff Jarrett squash, and afterwards he goes to perform. So he's going to sing. So he's kind of stopping with like the blue balling of the audience, I guess you could say. And this is like awesome where Rhodey comes into play, and he has like these technical difficulties and everything like that. So really love the addition of Rhodey to Jarrett. Like I think it really amps his character up a little bit and just kind of shows that he like this whole Memphis, like a lot of these guys that are in the company right now have been in Memphis or coming straight from Memphis. It's kind of like their NXT of that time kind of, and just seeing these guys play these roles and comfortable with each other just really shows that they can kind of shine on the big stage, I guess.
Yeah, I liked Gorilla asked for Kevin Dunn to cut the mic, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
The problem with Double J is like the crowd really doesn't care for him. Like why the segment was cool and it should have got a bigger reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the crowd didn't really give it. Like it feels like the right thing. It's very Memphis-y, right? Of like stall, like recheck, like my guitar's on a tune. Like I felt like that was there, but it was just the crowd was. I didn't hear it. I didn't see it. And they really haven't built Double J up. Like, yeah, for whatever reason, Double J is just not over with anyone. And I remember as a kid, like when it happened to the Rumble, like I was shocked. I'm like, this guy. So just something about him just didn't click all the way through. So it feels like we talked about this last time, like a little bit of a waste of the roadie, like just kind of doing this like kind of full messing around.
Yeah.
I'm fine if you don't want to elevate him to a tag team with Jarrett. Like maybe you don't need that, but it feels just kind of like a little silly. Like why not have someone else do that as the roadie? Like I don't know why you need a wrestler to do that. Maybe Armstrong was injured or something, but it seems like just kind of a waste of this. And maybe they have tag matches on the road, but it just feels like a waste of a person, right? You could have Harvey or Jimmy Hart do this. Like it feels like that. We get a weird then promo for Super Dave Osborne.
Oh man.
Which took you back, shows you this is definitely 94.
This when I saw this, I was like, holy shit, you're mid 90s right now for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, Super Dave Osborne. So that's kind of crazy. And then we cut back to the tag team match from earlier. So we get another 11 minutes. This again was kind of fun, but you could tell the guys were maybe a little gassed. It's the end of a taping. Probably that's why they probably did it. Was like I don't know why, but I'm guessing maybe just because the end of the taping they wanted to throw out a high match to keep the crowd going after the end of a taping. But you kind of restarts. We start with the match in ring. We get Allied Powers taking the win. It kind of happens about like I said, 10 minutes into it. So we even get a second break, which is crazy. It's not like a quick win. But Bam Bam, Bam Bam and Tatanka run into each other on the ropes doing the Irish whip, and feels like the corporation falling apart. DiBiase's yelling at Bam Bam after the match. Pretty cool segment there, like showing some dissension there. But again, maybe not they haven't been around that long that we have to start breaking them up already. And it feels like the corporation's like falling apart versus what I think they could have been a little stronger and then let something significant then break them up. Like it's kind of weird to see this dissension. So,
well, I wonder if they already knew where they were going with Bigelow.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like the Mania stuff. So I wonder if they wanted to show a little bit of angst with him, a little bit of dissension.
Yeah. And even with the LT stuff that happens at the Rumble, like maybe he's just like they're trying to show him like he's a little bit chaotic, but it's more or less that he's fighting with his own team members. So that just again feels a little off.
Well, I think a lot of the $1 Million Corporation has. No, I was just gonna say like a lot of the $1 Million Corporation stuff has kind of really sucked. Like it's just been so disjointed. Like you don't know, like we don't know if IRS is in the corporation. We don't know if who's like the de facto leader of the corporation outside of DiBiase, like wrestler wise. But yeah, I we'll see, I guess.
All right, should we move to Superstars?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So this is January 7th. So now we're really into 95, but again, still taped in 94. So we're sorry. Yeah. So then we got, I was going to say we got the tag team title match or tournament match. Well Dunn versus supposed to be the Guns, but why don't you go over this match?
Yeah. So they announced that the Guns are hurt. I guess there's a rodeo accident. So really playing up that. I guess these guys are out like riding horses in their spare time in between matches or whatever.
Yep.
So this is gonna
horse fell on Mark on a horse
right.
horse fell on Mark on. Yes.
Yep. So they announced that Holly and Kid will replace the Smoking Gun. So cool little babyface tag team to throw in there with 1, 2, 3 Kid and Bob Holly. Good little the Well Dunn's outfits here are pretty cool. Like I'll give them I know I'm their savior or whatever, but I'll give them some credit here. Their little outfits look all right here.
It's very 90s.
Right, yeah. They were actually showing like a solid pace too to keep up with Kid and Holly. Like they weren't slouches in here. Like this is the best they've looked. I mean, it's not a bar that is impossible to top, but they looked pretty solid. Billy does a little cut in, like rooting for Kid and Holly, so that was kind of funny. Like he's like, my partner got a horse that fell on him, but I'm rooting for you guys. So that was a good little humor there for me. But then the end comes when Holly hits this like really fucked up top rope sunset flip. Like he lands right on his head and like his shoulder, and you could tell he's feeling it. He ends up rolling him over and getting a win, but he comes up looking a little worse for wear. So a little bit of a botched spot there at the end, but they do get the victory. And it was a pretty fun little match, I guess. Like, Well Done. Obviously not this workhorse team. Kid's the guy that's going to lead it, but good little superstars match there, I guess.
Yes. So yeah, it was a fun match. I actually thought it was a really good match. I always liked Bob Holly as the underdog, so that was fun. Billy's promo was really rough. Its promo was just not very good. Like I just wonder, how does he get any good? Like, is it just his catchphrase that puts him over, or is he actually any good? And then I also spent some time doing some AI Chat GPT because I was trying to find if Well Dunn had a theme song, and I couldn't find it. But Chat GPT did give me some WWE career highlights of Well Dunn, and they said their career was modest, which I would say is an overstatement. And they said there is a theme song for them, but they couldn't help me find it where it is on the internet. So very limited. AI doesn't even understand Well Dunn. So, but I actually think, jokingly, they are pretty good in this match. It is a fun match.
Did you ever think as a child or younger in 1995 that you would say in your late 30s, I'm going to use a Chat GPT to search Well Dunn's theme song? I don't think anybody in the entire I don't think their parents have done that. I don't think their relatives have done that. So now what that means is you are now the Well Dunn guy, not me anymore. Right?
Well, they came out with no theme. And I was like, do they even have a theme? And I'm like, where did I find it? I had ChatGPT. I'm like, well, let's go to the new Supreme Master, ChatGPT AI, and I'll see if Supreme Master can find it. And even they couldn't find it. So.
Well, I mean, it remains a mystery, I guess.
It remains a mystery. So yes, pretty funny stuff there. But yeah, I actually thought it was a really good match. So I will give that match. We got Backlund out again. Kind of weird that he has no music. It kind of goes a little bit that he's old and stuff, but feels like the end of Backlund. Don't you feel it's kind of the end of the Backlund?
Yep.
Doesn't feel like he's done.
He's not. It doesn't hit the same anymore. You know, when he's going like crazy and that kind of, it's just, I don't know. His push is over, I guess.
Yeah. And then we get Mabel. We'll get the Rumble. Sorry, we get the Rumble announcement. We get Crush is back. We also get the Mantaurs in there. Anvil, like they kind of last week. And then Owen Hart said he announced himself. So kind of funny there that he just said I'm in. And then we get Mabel versus Iron Mike Sharp. Mabel out with Oscar, but no Mo. Crowd's still into Mabel. So again, a guy they just feel like wasted, right? We talk about the New Generation one. One of the guys kind of wasted so far. Mabel will be at the top because just how over the crowd is for him. So solid match. Mike Sharp's a big guy against him, so Mabel looked pretty good here. And then post match they do the singing with Oscar that I thought was really solid. So fine segments there. And then we get the Heartbreak Hotel. Again, this one was rough. I don't know what you felt like about it. No, but we get Shawn Michaels interviewing King Kong Bundy, which is weird. Bundy's weird on it. But then we do get kind of this, like, the Rumble thing. Backlund comes out. Bulldog comes out. Everyone kind of fights around. So I like that part of it, but it's just so weird with Bundy and Million Dollar Man and Shawn Michaels like fighting. The crowd's kind of silent for that because like they don't care for Shawn yet, right? Like Shawn doesn't have any babyface like cred to him yet, and Bundy and the corporation's just not too over. Like they don't want to see them take out Shawn yet. So it's like there's no heat for the segment. But the second half of it, once they kind of get Backlund out there, I thought it really picked up steam.
Yeah, it's just another guy that's like not good on the mic that they put on the Heartbreak Hotel and it just doesn't fit. So to use it as like a catalyst for the brawl was cool, like you said. So I guess it made up for it. But the initial, Bundy Shawn interaction was pretty boring. So from there we get a Bulldog squash. So good to see him in action. The more Bulldog, the better for me right now. But then what we're going to get to here is our main event of the evening, and that is the debut of Mantaur. So Mantaur looks like a guy at your local VFW maybe when he comes out with this big, like, I don't know, bison head or something on him. Every 8 steps he like exclaims. So like he's walking and it's like they told him backstage, make sure you get your yell in or whatever, and he like took that to heart, and like every 7 or 8 steps he like does this big exclamation and throws his hands up. Great. So yeah, wonderful. This is greatness here. He's actually pretty solid in the ring. He's like,
Oh yes,
he's
very.
like a little bulldog. Like he's almost like for current wrestling, he's almost like a Bronson Reed type of guy. Like
Yep.
I don't know, I don't know, just a solid wrestler. Like take away the wild, the wacky gimmick and everything. He hits a sick belly to belly suplex. And he's supposed to be like this big, and this is just the weird shit that I noticed. He's like really intimidating, supposed to be like this, man, half minotaur or whatever.
I'm not
And
sure what,
he,
what he's supposed to
right,
be.
right. He does a belly to belly suplex, and then he gets up and like starts pulling a wedgie out of his ass. So it's like, all right, man, you just lost all your credibility there because you're worried about your ass. You shouldn't have to worry about that.
It probably hurt though. It probably hurt. It
Right.
was probably right up in there, so you just had to get it.
Well, he's got these like menacing attacks and everything, and then the belly belly suplex, and then he wins with this like falling splash. So that kind of sucked too.
Yeah.
But
There's like a flip over power slam too that was pretty solid. Like he kind of
yeah,
power slams him but turns, so it's not like a straight drop.
right.
Yeah, I thought real solid.
I mean, as far as like squashes go, like I said, put the character aside, it was a pretty fun in ring match for him. So
Yeah.
like Mantaur's not gonna light the world on fire. He's not even gonna be there that long, I don't think. So we'll just take that how it goes. But fun little debut for Mantaur in my eyes.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really solid that we had here. I thought he was really good. I thought it was, again, silly. His music, his theme song is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's part of it too. Is like, it's just a moo.
Yep.
It's like Vince is making fun of it. It's a guy they've given no promos for, right? Compared to like where we see Kama, right? Or Hedwig Garman, like we know who the character is. Like this, we don't know.
That's a good point.
And so, yeah, that's why I was shocked he was out. It's like, why is he here? We haven't seen anything on him. So that kind of disappoints it. But yeah, I thought he was pretty good. The crowd was pretty silent for him. But again, he looks amazing with the big moose head or bull head, whatever it is. Solid debut, I'd actually say, for him, especially in ring and just kind of character look. Again, kind of very silly, but looks different than like Portuguese Man of War. Like he looks like he has some type of like, okay, this could be okay.
Right.
So we'll see. Anything else before we go to the anniversary Raw?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay, so we got Raw on January 9th. This is live from Houston, Texas. This is the second anniversary. I actually thought this was the first anniversary. I remember this Raw, but I actually thought it was the first anniversary. I didn't know it was the second, so I was kind of shocked when we didn't see it last year, but I remember this one being a big deal. They really pump up William Shatner is going to be there. They really pump up the Owen versus Razor title match, and then we also have the Tuxedo match, which is pretty famous, famously bad. But this is a pretty loaded Raw. We haven't seen this for a while, right? Of this this big, and we got it live too. So kind of cool. It's at the Summit in Houston, Texas. So it's in the basketball arena, but they only drew 3,500 people. Which is crazy if you think of like the United Center and seeing only 3,500 people. So they must have like screened it pretty well because it didn't look empty. So I thought that, again, I'm going off history of WWE, but it didn't look empty, right? It looked like there were people in the crowd. So they did a good job of showing it however they did it if there's only 3,500 people.
Right.
And do you want to take Owen and Razor?
Yeah.
Me to grab it?
Yeah, I'll take it. So
okay.
We are going to start with the IC title match, Razor versus Owen. So this is a great way to start the second anniversary Raw. Like I feel like it started off with something hot, especially if you're worried about viewership, that kind of thing, for a hyped up show. These are two good guys to start it with. It starts really hot with like Razor on offense, which I liked because it's not just Owen kind of getting the shine early. Then it goes to that dumb Razor's Edge spot. I hate when they do this, or Scott Hall does it when he goes for the Razor's Edge. Like you're really just gonna launch him out of the ring, and Owen kind of like backdrops him, but then Owen follows it up with a dive outside, so that was pretty good. Then Razor's doing good as like the face in peril. Owen's working on him, and he kind of works over and gets the sharpshooter, and then out of nowhere Bret comes in for the attack. So not something you really expect. You usually expect like this to be the Owen roll, and it was awesome. So it leads to like Bret attacking Owen, then Jarrett comes out, kind of trying to even the odds and attack Bret, and then it just ends up, Owen just ends up bailing on Jarrett, and it ends up being Bret and Razor beating down Jarrett, and Owen gets the surprise win by DQ. So obviously not what he wanted in a title match, but he'll take it, I guess. So pretty fun stuff.
Fun match. We got a post break. We got a long headlock. The only thing I'd kind of say in there is like, I wish they didn't really have that post the commercial break. Like, keep the thing hot. Crazy that like Owen was right there to win the title. Like, he had him in the sharpshooter ready to go, and then Bret dives in. I forgot to mention that they had announced that Bret was coming back. So while it was a big, you knew he was in the arena, was a pretty big surprise, right? That he did that. The only thing again I have on this one is they're going to do the exact same thing at the Royal Rumble main events. So I don't know. It just feels, I know Owen cost him the title, but it feels like kind of out of nowhere a little bit. It doesn't feel like a Bret thing that we've seen of him. It's the whiny Bret that we see later.
Yeah.
But this one kind of feels a little bit there. I mean, I get why he does it, but it doesn't feel like something Bret has been kind of shown to do. We know he's a whiny. We love Bret, but we know he's a whiny baby.
Mm-hmm.
So this fits with his actual personality, but they haven't really brought him up in this as far as like in ring. Anything else to add before we go to the next?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. All right, so then we get a lot of talk of Tech War that's debuting this night. So again, maybe this is why they did this one live. This is definitely why William Shatner's in there, because he's part of Tech War. I've never heard of this thing before, so it must have lasted very short. We get another Hakushi squash. I thought very solid again. He just looks awesome. His entrance match looks awesome. He's got a look to him. Again, I would say like compared to some of these other guys that just have no looks to him. I'm gonna pick on Man of War, but he's just so bland. And then you got Hakushi with this whole theme and very controlled and very outgoing. I really like it. So fun little squash there. And he's been really solid so far. We get the King's Courts and with William Shatner. Again, he's in the Tech War, whatever this thing is. He's a megastar at this time, just giving off a like kind of nostalgia was kind of coming back with Star Trek at the time. So he was like a big star. So it's a big get. And then, Lawler cocks crap to him. And then Lawler goes to punch him and Shatner does a nice job reversing the punch into a, armbar basically. Bret comes out to really put him over as a babyface, but a cool segment. Definitely got photo ops, definitely pushed on, whatever this Tech War thing is to push the ratings. So something we'll see, later with Robin Hood and WCW. So we know this happens in wrestling for a while at this time frame of, pushing other shows on the network. So, okay, fine. He is a big star at the time, so it's not a nobody, but you get Shatner, you get Pamela Anderson, you're showing like, okay, there's some interest in there. Now, maybe they're paying a lot of money to get these people in here, but it does give some credibility to wrestling at a time when it's definitely on the lower end.
Well, yeah, and like Shatner, like you said, it is the nostalgia because, like, Saturday Night Live was making fun of him, like the whole like speaking in like 3-word sentences and stuff the way he did it. So he was like part of the zeitgeist, I guess you could say. So it was an interesting get, and I think he and Lawler are really good friends, right? They had like a close relationship. So I think maybe he like bargained to work with him on there or something. So pretty good stuff. We then get a King Kong Bunny squash, which I don't mind his squashes. They're actually kind of fun.
5 counts.
That's all. It's awesome touch, and just to see him work a short match is pretty cool. And then we get something that
main event.
They put this on the 2-year anniversary too, as the main event, which is kind of weird. I don't know. It's just obviously we're alluding to the Fink versus Harvey Whippleman, and it's not just the Fink. Harvey Whippleman sucks too. Like, he's not a good manager. He's not a good character.
He's terrible.
Just very weird. Yeah, and I will say, Well Dunn does have another excellent attire here. They almost have like the Bret colors here.
I agree.
So that stands out a little bit. They start kind of clawing at each other, and both these dudes are like just like tiny, old. Like, they look way older than they actually are. Their Fink is like tearing the skivvies off of Whippleman, and he's like they're wearing like real underwear too. It's like gross.
Yeah,
it's like,
big tiny waist, but red.
Yeah, it's like it's not even like wrestling tights kind of underwear. It's like real like Fruit of the Loom or whatever. What was the one back in the day?
Yeah.
BVDs. Yeah, it is real weird. Harvey goes up top and does like the Kamala
Haynes.
slap. Yeah, and then Fink somehow wins. I don't know how he won. Because I was like, just like in shock of these men like really in their underwear,
It's over.
rolling around. Yeah, I think somehow won, and then starts dancing with the Bushwhackers, which just makes it even worse. Really terrible segment. I guess this was probably something that Vince did for like himself to laugh in the back or something. Like to humor himself as much as we know what he's into. But this was just brutal. Kind of puts a halt to an otherwise pretty good Raw.
What demographic is this for? It's
That's a
not
good
for
call.
women.
Yeah.
It's not for kids. It's definitely not for men. Like,
it's not nostalgic.
Who are they trying? It's not for gay men. It's not
Right.
gay men. Like I can't figure out who would be appealed by this. Like,
yeah, that's a good call.
It's just weird. Like, at least when you see like the bra and panty matches, right? Like,
Right.
okay, you get clearly who they're going after. I don't know who this appeals to.
Yeah, I mean,
it's terrible.
I don't know. Maybe there's like this small sect that likes little furry, old men kind of in their underwear. I guess like we say this, and then somebody's listening to this, like, damn you, like why are you shitting
stars.
on? Right. So, I don't know though. I can't see it either.
I can't see. So, all right. Well, let's move on to awards. We know what the worst segment is, so we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Most new gen outfits.
I've kind of hyped him up twice. I'm gonna throw my boys a bone and give it to Well Dunn on their first outfit.
Well. Yes, I'll go for both. I think they're both great. Most new gen performer.
I don't know. That's kind of hard. I guess he was in there a few times and he was pretty solid. I'm gonna go with Owen.
Owen, okay. Yep. I'm gonna go Mantaur. I would have thought Kama's vignette too. I thought was pretty good. So I thought those are guys synonymous with it. But I like Owen. He was pretty solid. Worst master segment. Do we even have to?
Yeah, that's easy. That's the
Tux match.
Yeah. Yep.
It's terrible.
Fink and the Twink. Yeah.
Yep. Best matcher segments.
I think I'll go with the William Shatner King's Court. That was pretty memorable and pretty fun.
Okay. I'll go Owen almost winning the title.
Oh, nice.
I thought just like the match was good, but not great. But I thought like, man, he's about to pull the sharpshooter on him. That was a pretty cool thing. And then to have Bret come out there was a good segment. So anyone stock up?
Owen. Yeah, he's coming back a little bit from, they kind of lowered him down with his tag stuff. Maybe Neidhart's gone. He has a nice match and a nice King's Court. So
yep.
I'll go with him.
Great. And then I'm going to go Mantaur. I just thought for in-ring, right? Not for we love him, but in-ring, he was very, very solid. I thought that was a very good debut. He looked power. So I don't remember if he's a guy that does anything elsewhere. So we'll have to track his career. But I thought pretty solid. Anyone stock down?
I'm going to go Harvey Whippleman. He's supposed to be like the actual worker or, in the business kind of guy of this, and he didn't do anything to make it exciting. So
yep. I'm gonna go with Shawn Michaels. I thought his heartbreaker tells were pretty weak, and they don't make sense. And he's not wrestling, and his commentary is okay. Like he's not bad on commentary on Raw, but he's not. I don't think he said a memorable thing. Like to me,
that's true.
All that commentary. So I'm gonna go Shawn for stock down. So, we're 3 weeks away from the Rumble, so we'll have 2 more Raws, 2 more Superstars, I think, and then we'll be at the 95 Rumble. So pumped to see. Obviously, we don't think there's any more matches, but there'll probably be some changes around in the participants. We still have 11 in my count to announce, so pretty fun. So excited for 95. We got a bunch of new characters, like you mentioned, new characters. We loved Hakushi. I like Mantaur. Hog has been a little disappointing, but then we're excited about Kama. So we'll see how this kind of plays out the next couple of weeks with all this new talent brought in. But a fun anniversary Raw until like the last 4 minutes. So good couple of Raws and Superstars this time, and I thought a variety of action that never felt bland. Where sometimes we've seen some of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the Superstars definitely helped by the tag team tournament. Like that's definitely kept things moving. And again, kind of a surprise, like we said. I would have thought the Head Shrinkers would have lost that round. So kind of it's not as predictable as you think. So pretty fun stuff so far of that. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening, rate, and review, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.